Hi everyone, it's good to see you again today. Yesterday's theme was fear, and I'm going to build on that theme again today. Today's verse is Psalm 119, 165. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. I have always loved this verse. The word offend comes from a Hebrew word that means that your legs go weak and wobbly, and you stumble and stagger, and you wobble, and you fall down. So many things in this world can make my legs weak, can make me stagger. The author of this psalm, King David, the king of Israel, from his childhood experienced much trauma, abuse, that could have made him really unstable. But from a child, he also loved God's word. He memorized it, he read it. I would like to say this at this moment too. I was gifted with a childhood that was full of Bible. I memorized a lot of Bible from the time I was little. For David, his childhood, though, was not an easy one. He was the least favorite son with many older brothers. He was often forgotten. He was given the worst jobs. Many believe that he experienced abuse, maybe not in the sense of outright hitting, but emotional and psychological abuse. As a child, he was a shepherd boy. He faced bears and lions, and he took them on. And the only way he could have done that, in my mind, was to either be a great fool or someone who had great peace, knowing that God was with him. As he grew older, he killed Goliath when everyone else was afraid of Goliath. David had great courage, great peace in the face of Goliath. Then he got some fame, and fame causes many people to wobble. And then he had to face the envy and the mistreatment of King Saul, which lasted for months and a long period of time. And that caused him to wobble. We'll talk about that more in a few minutes. Then his own sins, and David was always aware of his sinfulness, of his failures, and they made him wobble. His enemies, taking advantage of his sins to take him down, they made him wobble and stagger. Then his sin with Bathsheba could have wiped him out, should have wiped him out, because even God was angry at him for what he had done. And yet David quickly repented and went back to God and said, "I'm sorry, I was wrong." Didn't stagger for too long. But in the midst of all this turmoil, he usually had great peace in the end, or even sometimes right through it. There was a period of time, though, when Saul was chasing him continually, that David staggered, to the point of it looked like there was no hope. It got so bad that as he fled to the Philistines, where he didn't belong, many people, when they lose peace, go where they don't belong. And he allied himself with them, and then they figured out who he was and figured he was an enemy. And so he really staggered to the point where the king of the Philistines, Abimelech, said in 1 Samuel 21:14, "This man is crazy. This man is mad." That was probably the greatest low point of David's life. But what's interesting is that even when he hit bottom, the next chapter he turns to God and he starts reversing this whole cycle of despair, which is what happens to a person who loves God's word, who loves God's commandments. And David did a good job with this. Sometimes I stumble badly, and it takes me a while to get back to God, like it did David then. But David seemed, after that time, to always quickly come back to God when he wobbled, when he staggered, when he did not have great peace. I'm learning to do that too, to come back to God quickly when I wobble. The reason David always came back to God and his commandments, because God's commandments, God's word, was David's love. They were his first love. They were his greatest love. Even when he was failing badly, they pulled him back to a place of peace. So my question for you today is this: do you struggle with peace? Yesterday's answer was Isaiah 26:3, which said, and I'm going to paraphrase it into my own words, personalize it. I like that idea. God will keep me in perfect peace if I fix my mind on him and lean into him, that is, trust him. And then today's answer is, great peace have they which love thy law. Psalm 119, 165, and nothing shall offend them. Thank you, and God bless you today.